Since this is a Sonic review, I'll go fast and cut to the chase. Sonic X Shadow Generations is a fantastic combination of one of the Blue Blur's classics and a new helping of smartly designed shadow levels designed around his own abilities, and after spending some time with it has become one of my favorite Sonic games I've ever played. Sega and Sonic Team have learned from their recent attempts, Frontiers and Superstars, and have found clever ways to weave the best ideas of those games into a major refresh of a fan favorite. And certainly, when it comes to Shadow the Hedgehog, this is his definitive game. Half the content of Sonic X Shadow Generations is remastered from Sonic Generations, which we gave an 8.5 in our review back then. It does have a few new bells and whistles, like the adorable Chow hidden in each 2D and 3D stage, but other than their level designs are mostly unchanged because they hold up just fine. I'd like to imagine that the Chow are a hint we'll see the return of the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2 in a future Sonic game, but for now, they're just a nice homage. If you've never played the original, it's definitely worth experiencing it for the first time here. Sonic Generations is a stellar combination of 2D and 3D gameplay that celebrated what was at the time a 20-year history by curating and recreating some of the best and most iconic Sonic levels that had come before. Shadow Generations wastes no time showcasing its creativity with multiple standout moments. The very first stage, for instance, transforms into fractals and looks like the alternate dimensions we've seen in Doctor Strange or Spider-Man No Way Home. The levels from Sonic Generations also get a slight but noticeable graphical boost thanks to the current generation of consoles. Environments look more polished and the colors are more vibrant, making enemies, hazards, and springs just a bit more noticeable when you're moving at high speed. So, by default, this is the best way to play it, even if the difference isn't night and day. However, the real reason you'd want to play Sonic X Shadow Generations is the all-new campaign filled with creative reimaginings of Shadow stages from his past appearances throughout the Sonic series. Shadow's 5-hour campaign is separate from the Generations storyline, but plays out in a similar way, in that each stage has one part in 2D and another in 3D. Shadow's stages have all the fast-paced appeal you'd expect to get when playing as Sonic, similar to when new paths open up when replaying a stage after Sonic has gained the Light Dash ability. Shadow starts with a similar skill called the Chaos Dash, and then goes on to open up even more pathways when returning to stages with abilities like the Doom Wings that let you fly short distances and skip whole sections of levels, making them play very differently. Shadow's Chaos Control ability also creates fantastic moments where he does things like freeze time to destroy a missile flying at him in a flashy mini cutscene, and unlike in the 2D Sonic stages that play like classic Sonic with no homing attack or boost gauge, Shadow keeps all his abilities for his 2D sections so they feel just as fast as his 3D stages. Besides the main stages, there are various challenge stages with objectives like requiring you to destroy enough targets before reaching the goal, or finish a hazard-filled level with a single ring to unlock bosses and the next set of stages. It's similar to Sonic Generations, with the main difference being that you need to complete all of the challenges to acquire the keys you need instead of just one. I do miss the collecting of the Chaos Emeralds you get in Sonic Generations because some of them had fun rival boss battles against characters like Metal Sonic and Silver, but since Sonic is collecting them in his portion of the story, it wouldn't make much sense for Shadow to be collecting them at the same time in his.
This is the ultimate power.
With both campaigns combined, the total number of stages is now over 150, including traditional, challenge, and boss stages. That would take even an avid Sonic fan about 15 to 20 hours to burn through, and for those looking for even more challenges, completing the Shadow campaign will unlock a new option that increases the difficulty of bosses and challenge levels when replaying them. Though minimal, there are some new storylines that creatively weave between games where Shadow has appeared, tying them into big moments we've seen in past games, like Sonic and Shadow's duel in Sonic Adventure 2. There is also a healthy dose of new scenes filling in Shadow's past that reunite him with friends and foes, and offer more context to his storylines in games like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Adventure 2.
Couldn't have done it better myself.
These moments range from fascinating to kick-ass, and they always left me wanting more. Like Sonic's, Shadows is made up of fun reimaginations of some of his best stages across past Sonic games. We've got new versions of levels like Radical Highway, Rail Canyon, and Space Colony Arc, and each stage is packed to the brim with creative routes that make good use of Shadow's old and new abilities. He begins with this iconic Chaos Control ability, which stops time, including the stage timer, and allows you to outrun hazards like a runaway train, stop groups of enemies in their tracks so you can dispatch them with ease, or use the new Chaos Dash to reach strategically placed shortcuts.
This is the ultimate power.
From there, you unlock Doom abilities that give you new options for movement and combat. Without going into spoiler territory, one of my favorites that you get about midway through the story is Doom Surf. This power makes water levels a lot more fun by giving you a shadowy mana ray that can spin attack through enemies and objects. These abilities are handed out after finishing a group of stages or an area's boss, and they come at a fast enough pace to keep things consistently interesting and different from what came before. There are also some creative and enjoyable new versions of boss fights, like a metallic dragon that has you chasing him on the water, knocking trash into him, and charging up so you can unleash chaos control and land some real damage with a homing attack.
That power already belongs to me!
I wish there were more of those, but those that are here make excellent use of the most recent Doom abilities and are all fantastic additions to the collection of egg robots and various other bosses from Sonic history.
I will flatten you!
In fact, the only stage that broke my momentum and reminded me of the missteps of modern Sonic games was the Sonic Frontiers 3D stage. It feels empty compared to most of Sonic X Shadow Generations, and had an over-reliance on a new sludge-based upgrade for Shadow that reminded me of one of my least favorite Wisp powers from Sonic Colors. Other than that though, I enjoyed replaying every stage to find optimal paths, gathered collectible keys to unlock secrets in the hub world, and improve my runs until I earned the coveted S rankings. Sonic X Shadow Generations also evolves the all-white hub world of Sonic Generations by taking it from a 2D plane to a 3-dimensional one that expands outwards as you complete all the stages in a section and its accompanying boss.
Too easy.
In between stages, I'd spend some time exploring the hub world to see what chests I could open using keys I'd collected, as well as completing various optional activities like collecting 100 rings in a short amount of time to unlock multiple rewards, like artwork, music, or journal entries about characters and the events of Shadow's life.
Chaos control!
Besides a McDonald's toy called the Shadow Grinder from 2003 and a DLC stage in Sonic Forces episode Shadow, this is the first time we've gotten multiple full 2D Shadow levels, and it was interesting to see how his expanded moveset impacted their designs. Abilities like Chaos Spears allowed me to hit switches from a distance to open up alternate paths, while Doom Surf meant no longer having to deal with those underwater sections of Sonic games that a lot of people don't enjoy. You can just surf right on top of the water until reaching land. Finally, I have to call out that the music accompanying our favorite hedgehogs as they race to the goal line is excellent. The guitar riffs for stages like Radical Highway and Space Colony Arc return and are joined by some fantastic tracks like Crush 40's All Hail Shadow and Sonic Heroes' Rail Canyon. One of my favorite elements of the Generations games is selectable background music for every stage and challenge. So if you only want to hear Live and Learn across every stage like the Crush 40 Sicko You Are, that's me, you can do that. The only catch is that you have to find some of the music tracks in chests scattered across Shadow's hub world, or by collecting the musical notes and red rings in Sonic's to unlock them. But that's a price I'm willing to pay. Sonic X Shadow Generations takes an already excellent game and spring jumps it to new heights at a blistering pace by doubling up the campaign length with creative level design, fantastic bosses, plenty of collectibles, and an appreciable graphical upgrade. While the brand new Shadow content isn't necessarily long on its own, it adds a nice change of pace to the collection of all-time great Sonic stages Generations already contained. And there's an exciting new story that's filled in as you explore the overworld for collectibles, activities, and challenges. This bulked up remaster soars far and above previous enhanced versions we've gotten in the Sonic franchise, and hopefully will be the gold standard Sega holds itself to when it decides to bring back other Sonic games from the past. For more, check out our reviews of Super Mario Party Jamboree and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And for everything else, stick with IGN.